What if everything you thought you knew about human history was carefully constructed lies? What if the most powerful forces on Earth have spent millennia hiding truths so profound, so earth-shattering that discovering them would fundamentally alter how we see reality itself? Tonight we pull back the veil on one of humanity's oldest and most guarded secrets. We're going to explore the hidden connections between ancient rituals practiced across every continent, rituals that seem impossibly similar despite being separated by thousands of miles and centuries of time. The question isn't whether these connections exist. The question is why someone has gone to extraordinary lengths to make sure you never notice them. Consider this. How is it possible that civilizations with no known contact developed nearly identical ceremonial practices? How did the ancient builders of monuments across the globe incorporate the same mathematical principles, the same astronomical alignments, the same symbolic languages? The official explanation is coincidence. But when you examine the evidence with an open mind, coincidence becomes the least likely explanation of all. Let's start with what they don't want you to know about the layout of ancient sacred sites. If you plot the locations of the world's most significant temples, pyramids, and stone circles on a map, something remarkable emerges. These sites don't just randomly dot the landscape, they form precise geometric patterns. Lines of incredible accuracy connect structures built thousands of years apart by cultures that supposedly never communicated. These aren't ordinary lines. They follow what ancient texts refer to as energy channels, pathways of power that crisscross our planet like a vast nervous system. Modern science calls them magnetic anomalies or geological curiosities. But the ancients knew better. They built their most sacred structures at the intersection points of these energy lines, creating a global network of power that remains active to this day. But here's where it gets disturbing. This network wasn't designed by primitive civilizations struggling to understand their world. The mathematical precision required to calculate these alignments across continental distances demands knowledge of the Earth's exact dimensions, its rotational properties, even the precession of the equinoxes. This is knowledge that mainstream archaeology insists wasn't available until modern times. So who provided this knowledge, and why? The answer lies in examining the rituals themselves. Across every continent, in every ancient culture, we find ceremonies that follow identical patterns. Participants gather at specific times determined by celestial events. They arrange themselves in precise geometric formations. They use sound frequencies that modern research has proven can alter consciousness and even manipulate matter at the molecular level. They consume substances that unlock hidden capacities of human perception. These weren't random religious practices, they were technologies. Sophisticated methods for tapping into forces that conventional science still struggles to understand. But the most revealing aspect of these rituals isn't what the participants did, it's what they were trying to achieve. Ancient texts from around the world, translated properly without the filter of academic bias, tell the same story. These ceremonies were designed to communicate with intelligences that exist beyond normal human perception. Entities that possessed knowledge far beyond what any terrestrial civilization should have had access to. The establishment doesn't want you to examine these translations too closely because they reveal something that shatters the approved narrative of human development. Our ancestors weren't primitive. They were in contact with sources of information that guided the development of civilization itself. Think about it, how did humans transition from hunter-gatherers to builders of massive stone monuments almost overnight in historical terms? How did mathematical concepts, agricultural techniques, and metallurgy appear simultaneously in isolated regions around the globe? The official story of gradual, independent development falls apart under scrutiny. The truth is that human civilization received a jump start. Not from extraterrestrial visitors, as some theorists suggest, but from something far more unsettling. From intelligences that exist in dimensions of reality that most people never suspect. This is where the ancient rituals become truly significant. They weren't just ceremonies of worship, they were communication protocols. Specific sequences of actions, sounds, and mental states designed to open channels between our reality and theirs. The geometric arrangements, the precise timing, the altered states of consciousness, they're all components of a technology for interdimensional contact. And here's the most disturbing part, these rituals never stopped. They evolved, became more sophisticated, went underground. The same families, the same bloodlines that served as intermediaries in ancient times continue to practice these ceremonies today. Only now they do it in secret, in locations hidden from public view, maintaining contact with the same entities that guided human development for millennia. You can trace their influence through history if you know what to look for. Every major shift in human civilization, every technological leap, every political transformation that seemed to come out of nowhere, they all coincide with periods of increased ritual activity. The Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, the sudden acceleration of technological development in the 20th century, none of these were natural progressions. They were orchestrated. The symbols are everywhere once you learn to recognize them. Corporate logos, architectural designs, entertainment industry imagery, they're all variations of the same symbolic language used in ancient rituals. This isn't coincidence or artistic inspiration, it's a system of communication, a way of maintaining contact with sources of power that exist beyond ordinary reality. But why keep this knowledge secret? Why not share these discoveries with humanity as a whole? The answer reveals the darkest aspect of this conspiracy. The entities that provide this knowledge demand payment. They require specific forms of energy, particular types of human experience, certain sacrifices that most people would find abhorrent if they understood what was really being offered. The ancient rituals weren't just about communication, they were transactions. Knowledge and power in exchange for something that these entities value more than gold or precious stones. They value human consciousness itself, human life force, human potential. The ceremonies were designed to harvest and transfer these energies to beings that exist in realms where such things are currency. This system continues today, disguised as entertainment, politics, finance, technology. The same basic principles, the same fundamental exchange, only scaled up to encompass entire populations instead of small groups of initiates. Modern society itself has become the ritual space, with most people serving as unwitting participants in ceremonies they don't even realize they're part of. Consider how modern life mirrors the structure of ancient rituals. People gather in massive groups at regularly scheduled intervals. They focus their attention on symbolic presentations that alter their emotional and mental states. They consume substances that affect their consciousness. They participate in collective behaviors that generate specific types of energy. The only difference is that they've been convinced they're doing it for entertainment, education, or civic duty, rather than as part of a vast ceremonial system. The timing isn't random either. Major events, cultural phenomena, technological releases, they're all coordinated according to the same astronomical and geometric principles that guided ancient ritual timing. The practitioners of this hidden knowledge use the same celestial mechanics that their predecessors understood thousands of years ago. But the most chilling realization is that this system is accelerating. The energy requirements are increasing. The entities that have guided human development for millennia are demanding more frequent and more intensive transactions. What once required only periodic ceremonies now demands continuous activity. Modern civilization itself has become the ritual, and every person alive is being drawn into participation, whether they realize it or not. The evidence is all around us. The increasing pace of technological change, the growing complexity of global systems, the strange synchronicities that seem to govern major world events, they're all symptoms of a process that's moving towards some kind of culmination. Something that the ancient texts refer to as the final harvest, the ultimate transaction, the moment when the debt accumulated over millennia of borrowed knowledge comes due. This is why they work so hard to keep you distracted, to make you focus on surface conflicts while ignoring the deeper patterns. They need you to remain unaware of your role in this system because awareness changes everything. Once you understand what's really happening, you gain the power to withdraw your consent, to step outside the ceremonial framework, to reclaim the energy that's being harvested from your consciousness. The ancient knowledge isn't inherently evil. The rituals themselves are just technology, tools that can be used for different purposes depending on the intent of the practitioners. The problem is that for thousands of years this technology has been monopolized by groups that use it for their own benefit rather than humanity's advancement. But knowledge, once released, cannot be contained forever. The same information that allowed ancient civilizations to build their monuments, to develop their mathematical systems, to establish contact with other dimensions of reality. This knowledge is available to anyone willing to look beyond the official explanations and examine the evidence with clear eyes. The choice is yours. You can continue to accept the comfortable lies that keep you functioning as an unwitting participant in rituals you don't understand. Or you can begin to see the patterns, to recognize the symbols, to understand the true nature of the reality you're living in. The ancient ceremonies never ended, they just got bigger and you're already part of them. The question is, now that you know, what are you going to do about it?